Chapter 6 of Nights with Uncle Remus. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain and is read by Mark Smith of Simpsonville, South Carolina. Nights with Uncle Remus by Joel Chandler Harris. Chapter 6. Brer Rabbit secures a mansion. The rain continued to fall the next day, but the little boy made arrangements to go with Tildy when she carried Uncle Remus his supper. This happened to be a waiter full of things left over from dinner. There was so much that the old man was moved to remark, "Ah, 'clare to gracious, it look like Miss Sally done got my name in de pot dis time, sho'. I des wish you look at dat pone of cornbread, honey, and dem ar greens, and see if dey ain't got Remus writ somewheres on um. Dat ar chicken fixins, they look like dey're good, and yet 'tain't familious wid me like dat ar bile ham. Dem ar sweet taters, dey stands fair fer dividin', but dem ar preserves, I lay dey fit yo' palate more samer dan dey does mine. Dish yer hunk of beef, we kin talk 'bout dat w'en de time come, en dem ar biscuits, I des nat'ally knows Miss Sally put um in dar fer some little chap which his name I ain't gwineter call in company." It was easy to perceive that the sight of the supper had put Uncle Remus in rare good humor. He moved around briskly, taking the plates from the waiter and distributing them with exaggerated carefulness around upon his little pine table. Meanwhile, he kept up a running fire of conversation. "Folks w'at kin sit down en have der vittles brung en put down right spang under de nose, dem kinder folks ain't got no needs or no umbrella. Night 'fo' las', w'iles I was settin' dar in de do', I year dem Willis whistlers, den I des knows we 'uz gwine ter git a season." "The Willis whistlers, Uncle Remus?" exclaimed the little boy. "What are they?" "Youer too hard fer me now, honey. Dat w'at I knows I don't min' tellin', but w'en you axes me 'bout dat w'at I dunno, den youer too hard fer me, sho'. Deze yer Willis whistlers, dey bangs my time, en I bin knockin' 'roun' in dish yer low groun' fer gwine on 80 year. Some folks wanter make out deyer frogs, yet I wish dey p'int out ter me how frogs kin holler so dat de nigher you come to um, de furder you is off. I be mighty glad ef some 'ud come 'long en tell me dat. Many en many's de time is I gone atter dese yer Willis whistlers, en, no diffunce whar I goes, dey's allers off yonder. You kin put de shovel in de fire en make de squinch owl hush his fuss, en you kin go out en put yo' han' on de trees en make dis yer locus' bugs quit der racket. But dem ar Willis whistlers, dey's always way off yonder." Suddenly, Uncle Remus paused over one of the dishes and exclaimed, "Gracious en de goodness! W'at kinder doin's is dis Miss Sally done gone en sont us?" "That," said the little boy, after making an investigation, "is what mamma calls a floating island." "Well, den," Uncle Remus remarked in a relieved tone, "dat's diffunt. I wuz mos' fear'd it 'uz some er dat ar sillabug, w'ich a whole jugful ain't skacely 'nuff fer ter make you seem like you dremp 'bout smellin' dram. Ef I gwine ter be fed on foam," continued the old man, by way of explaining his position on the subject of syllabub, "let it be foam, en ef I'm gwine ter git dram, lemme git in reach un it w'ile she got some strenk lef'. Dat's me up en down. W'en it comes ter dish yer floatin' island, des gimme a hunk of ginger cake en a mug of 'simmon beer, en dey won't find no nigger w'at's got no slicker feelin's dan w'at I is. Miss Sally mighty cuse w'ite 'oman," Uncle Remus went on. "She sendin' all deze doin's en fixin's down yer, en I 'speck dey's monst'us nice, but no longer ez las' Chuseday she had all de niggers on de place, big en little, gwine squallin' 'roun' fer Remus. Hit 'uz Remus yer en Remus dar, en lo en beholes, w'en I come ter fine out, Miss Sally want Remus fer to whirl in en cook her one of dese yer old time ash cakes. She bleedz to have it den en dar, en when I git it done, Miss Sally, she got a glass of buttermilk en tuck'n sot right flat down on de floor, des like she useter when she was a little gal." The old man paused, straightened up, looked at the child over his spectacles, and continued with emphasis, "En I be bless if she ain't eat a hunk of dat there ash cake mighty nigh as big as yo' head, en den she tuck'n make out 'twa'n't cook right. Now den, honey, all dese done fix. You set over dar, en I'll sit over yer, en 'twixt en between us we'll stample dish yer truck en see w'at it is Miss Sally done gone en sont us. En w'iles we is a makin' way wid it, I'll sorter rustle round wid my remembrance en see ef I kin call to mind de tale about how ole Brer Rabbit got 'im a two-story house without layin' out much cash." Uncle Remus stopped talking a little while and pretended to be trying to remember something, an effort that was accompanied by a curious humming sound in his throat. Finally he brightened up and began. "It tu'n out one time dat a whole lot er de creeturs tuck a notion dat dey'd go in cahoots wid buildin' 'em one of a house. Ole Brer B'ar, he was 'mongs um, en Brer Fox, en Brer Wolf, en Brer Coon, en Brer Possum. I won't make sho', but it seems like ter me dat plumb down to ole Brer Mink was 'mongs um. Leas'ways, dey wuz a whole passel un um, en dey whirl in, dey did, en dey build a house in less'n no time. Brer Rabbit, he make like it make his head swim fer to climb up de scaffold, en likewise he say it make 'im catch de palsy fer to work in de sun, but he got 'im a squar', en he tuck a pencil behind his ear, en he went 'roun' medjin' en markin', en he wuz dat busy dat de yuther creeturs say ter deyse'f he do a monst'us sight er wuk, en folks gwine 'long de big road say Brer Rabbit doin' mo' hard wuk dan de whole kit en bilin' un um. Yet all de time Brer Rabbit ain't doin' nothin', en he des well bin layin' off in de shade scratchin' de fleas off of him. De yuther creeturs, dey build a house, en gentermens, she 'uz a fine un too, mon. She'd a been a fine in dese days, let 'lone dem days. She had her upstairs en downstairs, en chimbleys all 'roun', en she had rooms fer all de creeturs w'at went inter cahoots en help make it. Brer Rabbit, he pick out one er de upstairs rooms, en he tuck'n got 'im a gun, in one er dese yer brass cannons, en he tuck'n put 'im in dar w'en de yuther creeturs ain't lookin', en den he tuck'n got 'im a tub er nasty slop water, which likewise he put in dar w'en dey ain't lookin'. So den, w'en dey git de house all fix, en w'ile dey wuz a settin' in de parlor atter supper, Brer Rabbit, he sorter gap en stretch himse'f, en make his 'scuses en say he b'leeve he'll go ter his room. W'en he git dar, en w'iles all de yuther creeturs wuz a laughin' en chattin' en as sociable as you please, Brer Rabbit, he stick his head outer de do' er his room en sing out: "'W'en a big man like me wanter set down, wharbouts he gwineter set?' sezee. Den de yuther creeturs, dey laugh en holler back: "'Ef big man like you can't sit in a cheer, he better sit down on de flo'.' "'Watch out down dar, den,' sez ole Brer Rabbit, sezee, ''kaze I'm a gwineter set down,' sezee. Wid dat, bang! went Brer Rabbit gun. Co'se, dis sorter 'stonished de creeturs, en dey look 'roun' at one another much ez to say, w'at in de name er gracious is dat? Dey listen en listen, but dey don't year no mo' fuss, en 'twa'n't long 'fo' dey got to chattin' en jabberin' some mo'. Bimeby, Brer Rabbit stick he head outer de room do' en sing out: "'W'en a big man like me wanter sneeze, wharbouts he gwineter sneeze at?' Den de yuther creeturs, dey tuck'n holler back: "'Ef big man like you ain't a gwine gump, he kin sneeze anywhar he please.' "'Watch out dar, den!' says Brer Rabbit, says he. "'Cause I'm gwine to turn loose en sneeze right here,' says he. Wid dat, Brer Rabbit let off his cannon. Brum, brum, brum. De winder glass dey shook en rattle, en de house shook like she gwine to come down, en old Brer B'ar, he fell out of de rockin' cheer, kaploomp. When de creeturs git sorter settle, Brer Possum en Brer Mink, dey up en 'low dat Brer Rabbit got such a monst'us bad cole dat dey believe dey'll step out en git some fresh air. But dem other creeturs, dey say they're gwine to stick it out, en atter w'ile, w'en dey git de hair smoove down en dey 'gun to lower 'mongst demselves, 'bout dat time, w'en dey git in a good way, Brer Rabbit, he sing out, "W'en a big man like me take a chaw er tobacco, whereabouts he gwine to spit?" Den de yuther creeturs, dey holler back, dey did, sorter like dey're mad. "Big man or little man, spit where you please." Den Brer Rabbit, he squall out, "Dis de way a big man spit," en wid dat he tilt over de tub of slop water, en w'en de yuther creeturs year it come a sloshin' down de stair steps, gentlemens, dey des histed demselves out dar. Some un um went out de back door, en some un um went out de front door, en some un um fell out de winders. Some went one way en some went n'er way, but they all went sailin' out. "But what became of Brother Rabbit?" the little boy asked. Brer Rabbit, he des tuck en shut up de house en fasten de winders, en den he got ter bed, he did, en pull de coverlet up 'roun' his ears, en he sleep like a man w'at ain't owe nobody nothin', en needer do he owe um, 'kaze ef dem yuther creeturs gwine git skeer'd en run off fum der own house, w'at bizness is dat of Brer Rabbit? Dat w'at I like ter know. End of chapter 6.